I'm Zim, and this is the Helpful Photographer Podcast in collaboration with New York City Photo Safari. Many people believe that you need to have a polarizing filter on your camera all the time. I personally don't agree with this advice. But before we talk about whether or not it's a good thing, let's talk to Professor Rebecca Talman from the University of California, San Diego, about polarizing filters and get a better understanding of how they work. Hey, Dr. Talman, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me today.
So, how's the weather there in Southern California?
It's not too bad today. It cooled off a bit, about down to 80 degrees, but it's going to It's going to start being an Indian summer again.
Oof. But no fires where you are, right?
Nope. They've been contained for about a week. Yeah.
That's great. So today we're talking about polarizing filters, and as I understand, you have a PhD in optical sciences from the University of Arizona. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Great. So you'd be the perfect person to talk to about this, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so my understanding of a polarizer is basically it's there to reduce the glare coming off of shiny objects like chrome reflections, that kind of thing. And the way it does that is as the light comes into the lens, the polarizer essentially pushes it 90 degrees in the other direction, and that's how you kill the glare off. Is that correct?
No, it's not. So a polarizer, its whole goal is to prevent light from entering the lens in the camera that has a specific feature associated with it. And that feature is identified with the wave nature of light.
Okay.
Light has two natures, wave and particle or ray. Now, the ray nature of light is something that's familiar to everybody. It's the distance it travels when it comes from an object into the center of your lens. So imagine a thread tied at one end, and the other end of the thread goes into the camera as you would expect it to have. Now, the wave nature of light this talks about the vibrations the light has as it travels as a ray, as it travels down the thread. And these vibrations, if you try to imagine putting a lifesaver around the thread and you spin it as it's going down, that is the nature of the light that we're trying to prevent from entering into the lens of the camera. So, which is what we call polarized. If it has natural light is not polarized. This is light that's illuminated by the sun or incandescent light bulbs. But light that's reflected off of surfaces becomes polarized.
Okay, so anytime like natural light, like the sun or incandescent light, bounces off any surface, you call that polarized light.
It has to be off of a specific, like a reflective surface, like a pond, a piece of glass, off of the floor, any kind of shiny surface where you would get what looks like glare. That light has a specific pattern as it's traveling towards you.
Okay. Great. So bottom line is your polarizing filter is actually filtering out that particular kind of light to kill the glare. Is that correct?
Correct. So it's not the color of the light, it's the pattern as which it's that vibration as it's traveling towards you as it enters the camera.
So it has nothing to do with the angle of the light.
No, it does not have anything to do with the angle. So wherever you're pointing your camera at, if there's light off of a reflective surface, it will come in and it's specifically linearly polarized.
Okay.
So, and it's like putting up like a grate against your lens. That's exactly what it is. That prevents light coming in at that particular vibration coming towards you from entering the lens.
Okay. So what's a CPL, a circular polarizer, and how do they work?
Okay, so a circular polarizer does the same thing. So a polarizer kills that vibration of light. If it's linearly, it's along a line. And so if your polarizer is aligned in the same way, it will kill that light. Well, what a circular polarizer does is it starts with a linear filter that kills the light of that pattern. And then what it does is it puts in what's called a quarter wave plate behind it that creates a lag in the vibration. So instead of being a line, it comes out like a circle, which is like imagining that spinning lifesaver coming down the line of thread. And that's what it does.
Okay.
So, but the features are basically the same. It prevents light with that pattern entering the lens and the camera to the sensor.
So I heard someone describe a polarizer as sort of being a pegboard where you can put circular pegs through, but square pegs won't go through. And polarized light is like the square pegs. And so your polarizing filter is your pegboard only allowing circular or round pegs to go through. Is that right?
That's a great analogy. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another question, which is we find that these polarizing filters can, reduce the amount of light coming into the camera by sometimes up to nearly 2 stops of light. So they're always dark. Do they have to be dark in order to work?
No, they don't always have to be dark. I'm not an expert in the creation of polarizing filters. I think the fact that they're dark is just part of the process of creating the filter itself. It could be clear, but I'm going to just say, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be dark.
Okay, so at this point, it doesn't seem like the technology allows us to make a clear polarizing filter. It's just probably part of the manufacturing process at this point.
Right. But the polarizer, remember, if light is being naturally illuminated, such as in a landscape, that the light from the landscape will not be, it will pass through the polarizer, the lens, and onto the sensor of the camera for your picture. It's any kind of light that's specifically reflected. So whether it's dark or not, it's not preventing that light from coming through and reducing the illumination of your entire image. It's only for the reflected light.
Okay, so then I guess the question becomes, I'm driving my car, I'm wearing polarized sunglasses, and I assume that polarized sunglasses are the same as my polarizing filter. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so then there's my dashboard is always reflected off of the front windshield, but when I put my polarizing sunglasses on, that reflection is gone. And I'm just realizing right as I say that reflection is polarized light, and so therefore my sunglasses got rid of that reflection.
Right. Which is why sunglasses are great for when you're driving or any of those kind of situations. Is the surrounding landscape doesn't get affected; it's the reflections.
Got it.
Reduces glare.
All right, so here's the other thing though. But when I look at my cell phone with my sunglasses on, the cell phone is usually like black. I can't see the actual text on my cell phone unless I take my sunglasses off. Why is that?
Well, they were designed that way. So the lights from cameras and TVs are LEDs, and they're not naturally polarized, but part of the manufacturing process is they want to make sure light coming from these very dim sources actually reach your eyes so you can see it. So part of the process is to polarize the light to help improve directionality, right? They want to make sure the light isn't scattered to the right or the left. They want to make sure you can see it. So that's why all your phones are polarized.
Oh, so basically it's a polarized light. Now I put a polarizing filter, which kills polarized light. So therefore it disappears.
It disappears.
Oh, geez. Is there any way around that? No, right?
Nope. You can turn the phone 90 degrees. So they don't line up, which is like if you actually, it's a good experiment. If you want to try it is have your sunglasses on naturally, look at your phone, it will be dark. If you take them off your face and rotate them 90 degrees, you'll see them perfectly clear through your sunglasses.
If I rotate the phone 90 degrees?
90 degrees or your sunglasses 90 degrees. It has to be one or the other. So if you keep If you keep your phone in front of you as if you're going to read it normally and you
Okay.
can't see anything, turn your phone 90 degrees, you will see it. And if you return it back to the position where you cannot see the text or anything on your phone, take your sunglasses off and rotate your sunglasses and you can see it.
But I thought directionality didn't have any.
Well,
effect.
okay, so linear polarized, it's kind of like sifting through a grate or a set of lines. Okay, the direction is important, right? So on the front of your camera with your polarizer, I'm pretty sure you have to rotate the polarizer to find the sweet spot where glare is completely reduced. If you rotate it 90 degrees from that point, you'll see it will come back.
Got it. Okay, so my next question is, a lot of people use polarizing filters to enhance the blue sky. My inclination is because your polarizer reduces the amount of light coming into the camera, which we're always fighting, you're better off doing this in post production, like in Photoshop or Lightroom or something like that. The question is, why does it enhance the blue sky? What's it doing there?
Okay, so I mentioned before light comes polarized when it comes off of a reflective surface.
Mm-hmm.
Well, blue sky is also polarized. If you look up at the blue sky, it has that linear polarization associated with it. So if you were to put a polarizer on your camera, what that does is it prevents light from the sky, blue sky. It reduces the illumination from that specifically, but not anything outside of that. So what it can do is it just reduces the intensity of the blue entering your camera.
So it makes it feel more saturated.
Yes.
By essentially darkening it overall.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Got it.
So one of the things though is with saturation, when you talk to a technical person with camera systems and sensors, saturation to me means that you've blown out, there's too much light hitting the sensor and that's it. Whereas it sounds like if you have less light entering from that color spectrum, which is specifically the blue sky, that means the color it becomes more saturated in your image, which is different terminology.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Is there anything else I should know as a photographer? Oh, I do have one more question. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Would a polarizing filter inherently change the quality of my image?
If it's not made out of plastic and everything like that, where it would smear the image just because it's poor quality, no. The polarizer itself should not alter your image in any respect other than just reducing the amount of light from polarized light.
Okay. So is there anything else we need to know as photographers with regards to polarizing filters?
No, I mean, the core knowledge of the whole thing is that its sole purpose is to reduce light that has that feature, that polarized feature, from entering your camera system. That's it. So, and it only happens in certain cases, blue sky and light off of reflective surfaces. So if that's what you don't want to enter your image, that's when you use a polarizer.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much. That was really informative. And can I call you again if I have more questions?
Of course you can. Please do.
All right. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you next time.
I'll see you next time. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Dog came in just as that.
Just that time. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Oh.
Perfect. Okay, so that was pretty enlightening for me. I really thought that the way that polarizing filters work was that they brought light in and redirected it 90 degrees in a different direction, and I was completely wrong. But my conclusion with regards to having a polarizing filter live on your lens remains the same, which is you do not want your polarizer to live on your lens, because the fact is that they reduce the amount of light coming into your camera and that means you're losing stops of light. So use a polarizing filter if you need to. That's the bottom line. Don't use it if you don't need to. So it shouldn't live on your lens. It should only be there when necessary. So I hope that was helpful. Until next time, keep on shooting.